So, at this point, Clyde was out of prison and he was back with Bonnie. And they went to the life of crime. They would, a lot of times, take people hostage, and they started killing policemen if they were in their way. And I think that's why they were really so hated, because they did kill police, which is messed up and wrong, obviously. With Clyde, though, I wonder if because the way he was treated in prison, if that didn't have something to do with the way maybe he felt about cops. But that's obviously still no excuse. It is also said, though, that Bonnie and Clyde would have fights, like fist fights. They would fight each other. And Clyde would always try to basically recruit people to his gang. They called them a gang, the Barrel Gang. That's what they were called. And they were never really with the same people a lot of the time, and they were never alone until closer to the end is when basically it was just Bonnie and Clyde. But at this point, Clyde was recruiting people, and his brother Buck and Buck's wife Blanche joined them. And Blanche didn't like what was going on, and she told Buck, and Buck himself wanted out of the life, but I think he was really worried about his brother. And in a way, Clyde was the type, like, Clyde kept pulling him back in. But you could also look at it in that sense that Buck being the older brother, him being into crime, him like doing robberies and stuff, that is where Clyde got a lot of the stuff he was doing. So obviously he did take some inspiration from his older brother. But Buck was done, and Buck told Blanche that they were just going to stay a little bit longer, and then they were going to end up leaving. Well, Clyde, it is said that Clyde was a really good driver. And so a lot of times that's how they were able to escape with a lot of the situations. But when they had a car accident one time, it caused Bonnie to have an accident where she got a battery acid on her leg, and it was really bad. And apparently someone told Clyde that he needed to take her to a hospital, and he said she'll just have to die. But at the same time, people said that Clyde was right by her side through all of it. So it's kind of weird he said that when he was by her side the whole time. So I don't know what that was about. But it is also said that through the rest of her life, she could never really walk good because the leg never really healed good, so she couldn't really straighten it out. So Clyde would have to carry her. And Clyde, from where he cut off his toes, some of his toes, he had a limp. Well, at this point, one of Clyde's friends, DW, joins him. And Clyde thinks a lot of him, and he thinks a lot of Clyde. They're like best friends. But DW is only 16 at this time. And there's a story of how one time Clyde told DW that he needed to steal a car. Well, they were so loud that it woke up where they were trying to steal the car. The owner had woke up and they ended up killing him. So they're on the run, and one of the cars they had stolen had been found, and they had found some stuff of Clyde's, and so they knew at this point about Clyde and Bonnie, and they didn't know about DW. And so Clyde told him, he's like, look, they don't really know. Well, actually, no, it wasn't Clyde. It was Blanche that told Clyde, hey, you know, they don't know who you are. You're young. Just go, is what she told him. But I think, really honestly, he didn't want to leave Clyde. They were besties. So there was even one time where it ended up that DW had went away from the gang for a little bit, and Clyde was upset about it, and he thought, you know, he was just really upset, and Buck told him that, hey, you know, you need to let him go. He's young, he's a kid, just let him go. But Clyde's like, no, he'll come back. And he did. And so they were all back together again. And there was a chase. And in the chase, Buck had been shot in the head. And Blanche had glass in her eyes. And she was trying to protect Buck. But it was a really bad injury, but he still survived. So at this point, like I said, you know, they're on the run, and they're wanting to get Buck back home because his injury is so bad that even though he was alive, they knew he probably wasn't going to make it. So they would have to go places to rest for him because he was like in and out of consciousness at this point. It was bad. In the next video, I will tell you more. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a blessed day.